Welcome to the Two Ton Nerds. As always, my name is Max James. It's day 15 of the 31 Days of Fright horror movie project, year 2. I know I missed day 13 and day 14, but that will probably be the normal now. I will not be doing the review section of these movies for those 2 days, but I will watch what I had planned. And before I kind of jump into telling you what I'd been watching, I'm going to kind of run through my classification scale real quick, because I'm going to do a quick grading of each of the movies. And first up is 1, it's run-of-the-mill horror. 2 is best watch with the group. 3 is more than average horror, but adds nothing to the horror genre. 4, help moves the horror genre forward. And 5, being a horror classic. And the first movie I watched for the 2 days I was absent is The Walking Dead Season 1. I loved this first season. It was great. It was only 6 episodes, but and those 6 episodes were powerful and great and bloody and gory, and the acting was great and was setting up characters that will last until season 4, and oh my gosh, it was just really, really great. And it's a 5. That first season is a horror classic because it helped move it did more than just a 4. It helped move the horror genre forward in terms of telling stories with zombies, and as well as it was just it's very scary when it comes to like, what would this world be like if it did have zombies in it, and this would be like. And which brings me to my next movie I watched was Evil Dead, the new one. I love this one. I had strict reservations about like not wanting to see this movie, but I ended up seeing it anyways, and I loved it, and I don't regret it because there was a great, gory, scary movie. I mean, it was bloody. It was definitely on par with the first one, and I know Sam Raimi and Bruce Campbell and the rest of the crew had a hand in it. It was really, really great, and it's a 4. It is definitely helps move the horror genre forward in the sense of a remake can stand alone from the original. Which brings me to my next movie I watched was 28 Weeks Later. I love this one, especially how this movie started out. It's a 3. It's more than average horror, but adds really nothing to the horror genre, especially when it comes to zombies. I know the first one would have been a 4, 28 Days Later, but I chose to watch this one instead. It's a 3. It's more than average horror, but it does everything really well and more. Which brings me to my final zombie movie I watched for week 2 was Return of the Living Dead. I love this movie. I firmly believe this is a 5. It is a horror classic in the sense, it's a horror classic regardless, but if I do have to say, if the George A. Romero movies was taken out of the zombie equation, like you had to pick one zombie movie that would stand above the rest if the George A. Romero movies didn't count, Return of the Living Dead would be top tier. Which brings me to the movie I will be technically watching for day 15, Jason Goes to Hell. And if you watched my honorable mention video, I chose this one over Jason X, and actually I'll be watching the unrated cut of Jason Goes to Hell, and I love this one because Jason is finally tracked down by the FBI and blown up, and his heart has survived, and he's the soul Jason is just jumping from body to body to body, and there's some great gore moments, and there's some pretty graphic nudity in this movie, especially in the tent scene, and what else? And when it finally comes down to the final battle between Jason and I think one of the final remaining family members of Jason. I think that's how it went down. And he finally dies and goes to hell, and it's just really nice teaser at the end of the movie with Freddy's claw coming out of the ground and grabbing Jason's mask, which is a nice foreshadowing to Freddy versus Jason that comes out like several years later. So, and I say this one is a 3. It's more than average horror. It's a nice installment in the Friday the 13th series. It does everything right. I know there's a little lacking in Jason in this movie. Like It's more the spirit of Jason that goes through this movie. But the makeup was great. The gore effects were pretty good. And it's just more than average. And it does help when it's Jason. So that's really all I gotta say. My name is Max James. Oh, I will be returning back to format tomorrow. With what movie? I'll be watching the last of my Stephen King movies tomorrow. That's all I really gotta say. My name is Max James, and I'm going to go geek out.